Welcome to the AMA Way podcast, the best way to get your marketing news at San Diego State University. I'm the creative director that will be hosting the podcast today. And today we're brought by Qudsi, who is a very big part of the CBC over here in terms of many clubs, in terms of Lavin and Zip Launchpad, AMA, and many other clubs. Qudsi, would like you to introduce yourself?
Hello everyone, my name is Qudsi. Nice to meet you. First of all, let me just say thank you for AMA for hosting me. This is my first podcast and it's an honor. I'm sure we're going to do a lot of podcasts in the future, hopefully. Yeah, I'm a student in San Diego State University. I love AMA. AMA has helped me step into different industries when it comes to marketing, when it comes to advertising myself and resume building. So thanks for having me.
Thank you, Qudsi, for coming on to us. I was wondering if you could talk a bit more about the portfolio workshop that we did and some of the benefits of even having a portfolio.
Oh, great point. Thank you for bringing that up, Mr. Daniel. When I first started building my own website, which was a couple months ago, but later on, as I started building it and I spent hours of my time, months of my time into this, I realized, what if I do something that can help others as well? What if I make it to the point where not everyone has to spend a couple of months on it, but maybe only an hour or two to build their whole website? Well, that's the conclusion that I came to, and thankfully, because of my connections within AMA, I talked to the president and I talked to the vice president. Valeria was the president and Matthew was the vice president, so I talked to the two of them. They gave me the pleasure of doing a workshop in front of their members, and thankfully we had around 120 to 130 people. It came to the point where there were people sitting on the ground because there were no chairs, which was mesmerizing to me. It was meant to be a philanthropic workshop. So it was a great workshop where I used ChatGPT knowledge that I had before from the previous workshops that I've done for AMA, and I implemented that into building your own website to the point where they didn't have to write every single description of every single project that they had, but they had to simply put it in ChatGPT and ChatGPT will just expand on it. And when it comes to designing the website, since I've spent hours of my time with the developers, what I did was I automated that system so people will not have to design the whole website. All they have to do is put in that information in there. So yeah, that's basically it. But feel free to ask me if you would like for me to expand on the 20 people thing that we have in stock for them as well.
That is super cool that you got to host that workshop for all of the AMA members. I know a lot of the members really benefited from that. I'm sure that that was a really beneficial workshop. I'm curious about when you were in AMA, whether that was last year, because I know you're not currently a member, if I'm correct. So what was your position when you were in AMA? And other than getting to now come back and do this kind of workshop presentation, what was your biggest takeaway?
So, Lyric, thank you so much for that question. I really appreciate it. My position within AMA was the VP of Programming and Workshops. With all due respect, I wasn't the best exec board member. I just wanted to make that clear. I was the exec member that had the most creative ideas, but I was never on time when it comes to showing the results 2 weeks beforehand. Hey, this is the kind of workshop I'm going to have 2 weeks beforehand. No, on the day before the workshop or on the day before the speaker, I would present, and it would obviously be one of the most creative ideas because it would take me so much time, but at the same time, it would be so stressful on the other members. I was the VP of Programming and Workshops, and it was a great experience just to be able to run for that position without having anyone run against you. Because when I tried to run for this position, there was literally no one running for this position. It was my second or third week of going to GBMs, and they had their elections. So I joined AMA towards the end of the semester. We had two people. One person in charge of VP of Operations and one person in charge of VP of Programming. One of the top five roles, and they didn't have anyone running for it. So the president back then convinced me to join. I was like, why not? Little did I know, it was one of the most hectic and obviously exciting role that I've ever taken up in any organization.
That's super cool. Prior to that, because that's funny that you were the VP of Workshops and then you come back and do a workshop now. Was that like specifically intriguing to you because of an interest you had in workshops and putting on that kind of thing, or was that something you found in the role?
Great point, Lyric. When it comes to workshops, I truly strive giving speeches and presentations in front of people, which brings me back to when I was 18 years old. I joined Toastmasters Club. I don't know if you've heard about it. Have you heard about the Toastmasters Club by any chance?
I've heard of the name. I'm not familiar with what they are, though.
Yeah, so you just go there and you eat a bunch of toasts. No, I'm joking.
That's what your website leads to.
Sorry?
Your website leads to that.
Oh, yes.
To picture
Matthew,
toast.
great point, Matthew. It leads to the Toastmasters club that I joined. I joined 2 Toastmasters clubs in my lifetime. And by lifetime, I mean I'm 23 right now, so I'm not that old. I joined 2 Toastmasters clubs. I learned how to navigate the stage. Believe it or not, My first ever speech, I was so nervous, I did not even go to it. I called up, I was like, hey, I'm sick, sorry, I cannot make it, and I did not go. And in Toastmasters clubs, they have evaluators, and I was the youngest person over there. I was 18 years old, and the people that I was competing against, or like going to the club with, they were around 30, 40, 50, 60 years old, and I had to learn from them. They were my mentors. I truly learned a lot by joining the Toastmasters club, which truly inspired my journey to come into workshops and presenting in front of people. Which, by the way, I would highly recommend for every single student listening here to go and join a single Toastmasters club meeting. There are around 16,600 plus clubs in the world, and I'm sure there are some in San Diego. You truly learn how to navigate the stage, how to divide the stage, how to make your points, how to use your body language, how to voice modulate, and how to simply look at the audience members to make your point. That was a great point, and that was my journey towards becoming a workshop presenter, which I truly enjoy doing now because I just love seeing results right then and there. Great question by Lydic.
And given the context, Toastmasters, I can recall now it's like a public speaking kind of toast that you would give at a wedding and not the bread, of course.
Yes. Good point.
Yes. Well, thank you for sharing that. Is that what ultimately led you to where you are now, would you say? Was there more influence from your time at San Diego State?
If I were to think about it, I would say Toastmasters has had a huge impact when it comes to me doing the things that I do. Almost everything that I have done is thanks to Toastmasters. Being able to start a club on campus. I started an anti-human trafficking club called Project North Star. It was all thanks to Toastmasters Club. Being able to take part and be amongst the top 2 competitors in the Chenier Hustler H2O competition with a good friend of mine, Gabby, who was the ex-president of AMA. It was all thanks to Toastmasters Club. Being able to do every single thing, I would give thanks to Toastmasters Club. But at the same time, I wasn't that extroverted when I was in high school. When I came to San Diego State, something changed. Second semester of freshman year onwards. Mainly because of the fact that on the first semester, I had just one friend. That one friend was someone that I would always spend the time with, one-on-one. But guess what happened? He decided to leave San Diego State because it was a little too much for him. So what I decided to do after he left was I was like, I have to get out of my cocoon. How do I do that? Frat parties? I'm joking. I don't do that. I decided to start talking to people around campus, going to clubs. There was a point where I was part of 5 clubs on campus. It was too much to the point where eventually I had to like give up all the clubs. I was like, let me start focusing on myself. Qudsi, you gotta do that. But yes, you were gonna say something?
Yeah. What like daily habits, even now or then, did you have or routines that kept you motivated and focused, especially like juggling 5 different clubs or even now, you know, having all these different people to help and work with and organizations? Like, what do you prioritize?
Great point, Zoe. So you're gonna hate me for saying this, but I do not have my life together. I'm like any other student. I have none of my life together. But what I'm striving towards is to build that system. Everyone has goals. Every single student has a vague idea of what they want to do in the future or what they like, what they're passionate about. But how do you strive towards those goals is through your systems. And sometimes there are situations where goals are useless. Because if you're a football player, if you always look at the score, how much scores you make, but you don't look at the systems, you don't improve your dribbling skills, or if you don't do that, scores are useless. Because at the end of the day, it's you being the best version of yourself. And with me, I would try my absolute best to work on my sleeping schedule, which once in a while I would do amazing for a few months, and then I'll go back to being the worst sleeper in San Diego State University. So I would recommend, even if when it comes to failing, doing it again and failing and doing it again, as long as you strive towards improving yourself 1% at a time, which I'm sure you guys have heard about, the Atomic Habits book. James Clear, yeah. I currently am reading that book as well. So that is a great way of doing this, which is trying to work on your systems 1% at a time, and hopefully you get to go to where you would like to go.
Well, thank you.
Of course.
That's very great advice. I hope everyone listening in takes note.
Yes, I'm sure they will.
Are there any other books that you've read to help yourself in self-improvement besides Atomic Habits? Because that's something you're currently reading. Is there anything you've read since freshman year that's helped you?
I've read plenty of books since freshman year, but the book that I would say that really, really helped me out was 100 Things Successful People Do, when I read it in 8th grade. Or that one, and How to Talk to Anyone. How to Talk to Anyone, I don't know if you've heard about it, but that truly helped elevate me from being that shy kid to an extroverted kid. When I was in 8th grade, I couldn't look into a girl's eyes for more than 3 seconds. It might sound crazy, but with all due respect, I was a super shy kid that couldn't look into a girl's eyes for more than 3 seconds. So what that means is, every time I would have a conversation with someone, after 3 seconds, I just look at the ground and start talking to the ground while I'm standing right in front of them. So I started reading that book, and every day I would practice a single chapter. And it's great that we're all in college right now, because guess what? We all get to hang out with our friends every single day, so you get to practice all these little things. What I would do is I would practice them, and eventually I was able to work on every single aspect of myself. From the way I shake people's hands, from the way I look at people's eyes professionally. Like, the way I look at my girlfriend's eyes when I say hello compared to someone who I talk to professionally is way different. It might sound stupid, but trust me, those little details is what formed me as a person. Those little details are the reason why I walk around the campus and half the campus notices me. It's because I make people feel like they're seen. It's because I make people feel like they're special, intentionally, genuinely, and purposely as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think that's really a beneficial quality and a genuine quality to have in a business setting or just in life. Do you think that there was anything here at San Diego State so far, because obviously you're still a student, that it surprised you in terms of like how it's helped you develop, whether that's professionally or with these communication skills? Because you said, 5 clubs, and then you started your own program and club.
Yes, I would say the second day of college, that was like a huge culture shock for me. I come from Middle East, to be specific, Qatar. That's where I was brought up, and I'm Persian. And when I came to San Diego State, I was a super shy kid. And I thought to myself, Qudsi, you've given speeches in front of hundreds of people. You've taken public speaking for 2 years. And you come to the United States, and you're super shy. What is this all about? We had lunch with a group of my friends, just 2 friends, 2 guys and 1 girl. Just because there was 1 girl there, I was a little shy. I was like, oh my God, exotic, American girl, this, that. So it might sound silly, but sometimes international people think about these things. And I was like, I need to step away from that. So guess what I did? I went onto YouTube and I watched a bunch of videos on how to talk to people. And on the second day of school, I went around the whole floor. I knocked on every single door and I started talking to every single person for a few minutes. I feel like that set the benchmark for me trying to become someone different. And I would say the different classes and the different friends that I've made form who I am. I'm very specific about who I spend my time with. I may know a lot of people, but whom I spend my time with when it comes to having dinner with them or having lunch with them or just one-on-one with them, that is very specific to me, because you absorb what they are, who they are. And I try not to do that with a lot of people that I don't really respect that much, or where I don't really look up to that much, because I don't want to absorb habits that may affect my future goals negatively. So friends, I would say, is a big aspect. Make sure to surround yourself with amazing friends.
Yeah, I told Zoe this quote 4 times yesterday, so
yeah,
I'm
she
gonna
did,
say it
but
again.
please share it again.
Yes, I just heard it in a TED Talk that you're the average of the 5 people you surround yourself with. We're all averaging each other right now, but actually I do think that it's obviously the group that you are with and the spaces that you put yourself in are so important, and I think that is actually such a common trend for college, I would say. And so, especially being from another culture, that must have been really interesting. Did you start here at SDSU as a freshman?
Yes, I started here at SDSU as a freshman. And
were you 18?
I was no, actually there were some. I started school 1 year late, like kindergarten 1 year late, because I didn't have the visa back in Qatar. And I changed schools from different curriculums, so they brought me 1 grade lower. That's why I'm 24 and I'm a senior. So that's one of the main reasons. But I think I was around, I would say 20.
Yeah, so fresh to that. So.
Yes, indeed.
Wow, that's awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that. Yeah.
Of course.
We all read online that you speak 4 languages. I think.
I was just about
Daniel
to touch up
Matthew
upon that.
Yeah.
Do you think your ability to speak 4 languages has helped you connect and work with obviously a lot of different people?
Or do you think it's helped? Yeah.
Definitely.
Okay.
Being able to speak 4 languages, some of them more thorough than the others, gets me. Sorry.
What languages do you speak? What are the 4?
Great question. I forgot to mention that. I speak Hindi, Arabic, English, and Farsi. Very different, right?
Yes.
Wow, yeah.
I speak Arabic because I was brought up in Qatar. I speak Farsi because I'm Persian. And I speak English because I went to an English school. And I speak Hindi because our employees back in Qatar, they speak Hindi.
Oh, wow.
And they taught me how to speak Hindi. I loved going to my dad's store and helping him out. So it has taught me when it comes to just being able to put myself in other people's shoes. I feel like I can make friends with someone who's from India way faster than anyone else who may not speak that language.
Yeah.
Just because of the simple fact that if I say a few words from that language, they feel like I'm somewhat similar to their home.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh. Have you guys ever seen someone speak the language of someone else? And have you guys seen that reaction?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Like the
I love that
immediate, like,
reaction.
familiarity, yeah.
And especially someone like me who's Persian speaks Hindi. Whenever I do that, they're always in a state of shock. And when it comes to Middle Easterns, if you're brought up in Middle East and if you speak their language, you just instantly make friends. That's just the kind of people Middle Easterns are. And that's what I really love as well. So that's truly helped me bridge the gap between my culture and a bunch of other cultures. Yeah, I would say learning and knowing those languages truly helps a lot. So if you would like to familiarize yourself with different cultures, feel free to learn the language, because there's no way of learning a language and being able to speak it without truly learning their culture as well.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you
Of
for
course.
sharing about
Thank
that.
you, Zoe. I appreciate it.
It's a very fun fact.
Can we actually take a step back? You mentioned that your father owns a candy store.
Yes, indeed.
Let's talk about that.
Oh, of course. So, I love my dad's candy store. I was those kids in school that would sell his candy to the student council. I was also in charge of the treasury, so I would also charge up the student council when it comes to the candies.
So that was your earliest business venture.
That was, I guess, one of my early business ventures. I would sell candy to myself as the treasurer in school and charge up the price. But I really loved my dad's candy store, mainly because of the simple fact that I was a child and I loved candy. Guess who doesn't like candy in this room? Not that many. If you don't like candy in this room, please leave. But I'm joking. Don't. When it comes to my dad's candy store, I was obsessed with going to his store every weekend. I really wanted to go every day, but my mom wouldn't let me. She's like, Qudsi, I need you to stay home and I need you to focus on your studies. So there was this one funny story where my dad wouldn't take me to the store because I had exams next week. So what I did was, I want you to imagine a Honda Civic. That's not the car that he had, but this is a popular car everyone has here. Imagine a Honda Civic. Your dad is about to drive it. You hang off of the handle as a 12-year-old child. That's what I did, and he started driving. That's how obsessed I was with going to the store, and that's how much he did not want to take me there. But after driving for like 100 miles, no, not 100. 100 yards. 100 yards. I'm trying to familiarize myself with the U.S. metric system. But after driving for 100 yards, he just stopped and he just took me with him. And I don't want to say what happened to him later that night through my mom, but you know what it is.
The motivation was there.
Yes, exactly. So I guess I made a lot of friends through that one. I knew almost everyone around my dad's store. That's where my sales skills also came into play, because I also helped my dad when it comes to working. That was my somewhat official work thing, even though I was mainly the manager and at the same time helping with the employees. But that's where I learned a few things when it comes to reading people. Like, there were situations where customers would come into the store and I'm like, why aren't you guys going and talking to them, to our employees? They said, don't worry, Qudsi, they won't buy anything. I'm like, what? That makes no sense. So guess what happened? I went in and talked to them and they did not buy anything. That's when I learned that even though they might be our employees, they truly know a lot about that business compared to me just telling them what to do. So that was a great learning curve for me as well.
That's super cool. Yeah, I think one of the big things that I always say drove me to pick marketing as my major is just how, like, really predict, like, everyone's so unique, and each individual, like, there's going to be the targeted ads or whatever is going to interest them and be attractive to them as a from a marketing standpoint. But I think it's so interesting that we really, at the end of the day, are so predictable that marketing even exists the way it does, and trends can be followed, and ultimately we can guess what is going to appeal to people. So yeah, I think definitely huge on reading people. That's something that is defining your current career goals, it sounds like you're already kind of striving towards these goals, if I understand correctly. But I mean, if you have any sort of idea of like what that looks like, I know a lot of us don't. So
Great point. This is something I've been actually working on recently as well. Is marketing a goal that I really want to go to, or is it something else?
Mhm.
I don't think marketing is something that I would really like to go towards. I've done marketing before, like my first business that failed miserably, but I learned a lot from. Which, by the way, guys, I would highly recommend starting your own business, even if you don't know what's up. I started that business during COVID, and it was a print-on-demand store. People would send us their pictures. We would send them to our designers. They would vector design them. They would send it to us. We would send it to our suppliers. They would print them, and we would send it to people. And it took 2 months to ship it. Yeah, exactly, 2 months. And shipping something that takes 2 months is not very ideal, especially for people in the United States. So the business failed, unfortunately, but I learned a lot. And one of the things that I learned was Facebook, Instagram, and influencer marketing. I dipped my feet into Facebook marketing. I created those ads myself. I sent them to influencers so they can publish them on their social media platforms. And fun fact, these funny cat videos, dog videos, they have 20, 30, 40 accounts under them. So if you want to publish something, they will tell you, hey, if you want to post this ad on these many stories, this is how much we're going to charge you. And that was the craziest experience, getting to see all of that and getting to see the analytics of their results, doing that research and seeing which marketing aspect is going to help out. So that truly piqued my interest into marketing, but marketing itself is not something I'm truly passionate about. And my passions are event management. I love managing things. I love leading people towards a singular goal, which is one of the reasons why I started a club on campus. I started an anti-human trafficking club called Project North Star. It's called SDSU.PNS. And we have one of the most unique Instagram pages on campus. And I mean it. Feel free to search it up. Feel free to open it up. And we even had illustrators and whatnot just illustrate on the actual pictures, and we can post that one. That just shows the marketing spirit that I had, that the vision that I had, that I implemented into the people who were part of the team. I love starting things. I love doing things where people and I can move towards a singular goal. That's why I've done a bunch of other things in my high school, which is starting a newspaper club, starting a news channel, and a bunch of other things. But I truly don't know where I'm going. Right now, I'm just experimenting with a bunch of things.
Awesome. I mean, yeah, that's all you can do.
Exactly.
Experiment and learn. Yeah, that's
Exactly.
awesome.
Well, it sounds like you've experimented with a lot in the past with your many projects and your many ventures. Is that what inspired you to make your own website and teach others how to make their own websites?
Yes. When I started building my own website and when I finished it, fun fact, a friend of mine started doing the same thing. But to be different, he started to code it. He started telling me that the website that I was building had this flaw, that flaw, and I decided to one-up him. I connected with my network and I was like, how can I do something that he can never do? So I decided to do a workshop. I've worked on my name. What I mean by that is people, when they hear my name, they know that Qudsi is a hard worker. Qudsi is a genuine person. And it is because of all the time and effort that I've put into those people. So I had a feeling that if I had presented a workshop, I would have at least 100 people in there. So I contacted my network within AMA, and they were an amazing help when it comes to helping me schedule this and organize this. And this is where I started to build that workshop, and I started presenting it. All of this achievements and everything, I wanted to teach people how to do it, because guess what AMA needs? AMA has everything. AMA has speakers, AMA has all the fundings, the richest club, by the way, on campus. I mean, second richest after a woman in business, but still. Throwing shade.
Burn.
I'm just kidding. But when it comes to showing off all of my achievements, I've put them all onto my website. I bought Qudsi.site domain. Yeah, I would say a couple years ago, like 4 years ago, I bought it because I had a feeling that I was going to do something like this. I did it. I built a website about myself that has all of my achievements in there. If you search up Qudsi.site, Qudsi.site, you will be able to find all of that portfolio projects that I worked on. With the help of the developers that helped me build this website, I was able to use that knowledge and help the people in AMA build their own portfolio websites. So that was a great pleasure doing.
That's so inspiring.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I'm sure many other students in the audience, the 130 audience members, were also inspired by the workshop you held. They made their own websites. And now hopefully by listening to this podcast, they could learn from you and schedule an appointment to make their own website.
That's awesome. Yeah, we really encourage the members of AMA, and as well as, do you have to be a member of AMA to fill one of these time slots, or could it be anybody?
I guess since our vice president likes to keep things exclusive, let's keep it within AMA. Our vice president, Matthew, he likes the exclusive, so if you have an issue with that, please talk to him.
Write it up with that.
Yes, please. But I guess, yeah, you
We'll
have
just
to be.
pocket the money.
No. All the funding goes to breast cancer awareness.
Wonderful.
But, yeah, thank you, of course.
Well, we urge our members to take advantage of that, as well as look up Qudsi.site. Thank you so much for being here with us today, Qudsi. It's been a pleasure speaking with you, hearing about your story.
Thank you for
You're
having me.
very
I really
inspiring,
appreciate it.
yeah.
Yes, thank you so much.
Of course, of course,
Thank you.
of course.
I look forward to seeing what you do going forward.